Going in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everyone. This is Joe Riggio.
And Katie O'Neill.
Music.
That's what I thought, the music. That's what I was waiting for, and you were cueing me.
I thought he was cueing me.
No, remember the Scottish Wake.
Here we go.
Yo, yeah, y'all know what time it is.
Hi, everyone. This is Joe Riggio.
And Katie O'Neill. And you are now a guest with Kiss My Keister.
Oh, yeah. I love these episodes, don't you, Katie?
I do. Today's show is brought to you by Be Swanky. Be the difference. BeSwanky.com.
So, Katie, I know we always talk about some articles, but I started looking a little bit, digging deeper for pet peeves, and I started asking friends and family, and they gave me some lists and some things, and we can definitely talk about these items. So this will be interesting.
Okay, so what's the first family pet peeve?
So the first family pet peeve is people that don't do their jobs.
Oh, that could be everybody's pet peeve.
Exactly, but this is like one of the big things that everyone likes to talk about, because I don't know about you, but when I used to live up in Philadelphia, PA, if you said you were going to do a job, the job would be done. And if there was any, things that lagged behind, the person was very communicative to you and said, hey, look, job's going to be postponed because this, and that was all. Down here, when I moved down here and I asked for a job to be done, 3 days later, I'm like, is the job done? Oh, I was supposed to get the job done for you? That's what I hired you for, wasn't it?
Welcome to Florida, the home of the homeless and lazy.
Well, I wouldn't say the homeless
Everybody wants to come down here and become rich and famous by playing on the beach. They all think they can come down here and be beach bums.
Well, my dad always said that the sun probably melted their brains as it came down here.
Well, I think there might be something to that. I mean, we hunted for employees forever and finally just gave up. I mean, it was terrible. Nobody wanted to show up for an interview, and if they did, they didn't last a day if we decided we wanted them. We found one person we were very happy with. She abandoned the job. So, what do you do?
I don't know. That's the big thing is trying to find employees down here is quite interesting.
Do they want to work? I mean, that's my question. They all say, give me a job. We give them a job. They don't want to cut. They don't like the hours.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like the job itself. Or they know it all.
It's true. And you know what? I think this also has to do with a little bit of the mentality is I still go out to breakfast with my father and we talk about his old days and all this other stuff. And obviously back then it was a little different. And
Isn't that a wonderful thing to do?
Yeah. And he used to talk about like he had to make like $3 an hour just to have a household. And, 1 week's salary or 1 week's pay would cover your rent or mortgage when now it's a whole month to do it. And now you still have bills on top. But you think about the hard work that had to go involved with everything in there, and then all of a sudden you have someone coming out of college or someone not even whatever and wants to be paid the highest end caliber, but they have no experience.
Yes, and that's probably the one person that got that trophy for participation.
Oh, yes, the participation trophies that we love to talk about.
Yes, I do love those.
Everyone gets a trophy. You get a trophy too, Katie.
Hey, it's better than a kick in the teeth.
This is true.
But the bottom line is, what does it teach you?
Nothing.
It tells you can get whatever you want without even having to try.
Exactly. And that's not the kind of message that we want to get out there. We want to make sure that, obviously you work for what you want.
You work for what you get.
Well, yes, but there's the obvious thing that you want something, you're going to work hard towards it.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah.
And I do not think that is the mindset of the majority of the people out there looking for work.
This is true.
I want to go to work at maybe noon or 1. I want to eat lunch on the job once I get there, and I have to leave by 4:30.
You know what? This reminds me. This reminds me of a great episode. Conan O'Brien did a segment when he worked for Best Buy. Like, I want to say it was like 2008, 2010. And he did a segment where he went in there and he took like a 2-hour lunch. And they're like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Yes, I need a 2-hour lunch because I need to have my pasta. I need to have my grappa. I need to have everything here because I need to feel at home." And I look at him like, "Really? You only get a half an hour?" "No, I need 2 hours. I need my 2 hours to eat my pasta and everything."
What was he doing? Cooking on a hot plate in the break room?
No, he had the whole meal set up there.
Oh.
But he's like eating it, and they're just like, "Really?" And then, of course, he goes out onto the floor, pretending to be a Best Buy employee, and he's trying to sell products to the people. And all of a sudden, at the time, it's still relevant now, but at the time back then, the biggest thing were the digital picture frames. And he's trying to sell a guy a picture frame. He goes, "So, you want a picture frame?" He goes, "Yeah, I do want a picture frame." He goes, "Why do you want a picture frame?" "Well, I want to have my kid's picture on there." And he goes, "Well, you do know this alternates, right?" He goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "So what? You don't want to look at your kid all the time? You think he's ugly?" It was just great how he like segmented everything.
Well, that's why he's where he's at and we're where we're at.
We have to work harder, Katie. Work harder.
Work harder.
And I have to get the hair.
Well, you know, it's a true fact. Gingers do have a weird sense of humor.
Well, last night on a show, it was quite interesting, is we were talking about one of the shows with the stadiums being filled up with cardboard cutouts and everything like that.
Yeah.
So Conan has basically put his thing out there because I guess he's renting a theater at the time because he doesn't have his normal studio. And him and Andy Richter have said, go on their site, blah, 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 whatever. And he goes, take a picture of yourself. We're going to have cardboard cutouts of all you in the audience, and you're all going to be my audience now for all this other stuff. And then Andy's like, are we going to start charging for it? He goes, too late, Andy. I didn't even think about it.
Done.
Too done. Just send us a picture. And then Andy goes, so are there going to be naked ones? And he's like, no nakedness. No nakedness.
How much you want to bet somebody's going to send him?
You never know.
It's going to happen, trust me.
So I thought that was like a really good one to start off with. But did you think of any at the time?
Well, I was watching The Voice. Or no, it was America's Got Talent. That's what it was. And instead of a live studio audience, they had a Zoom meeting with about 200 television sets. So everybody got to tune in on the Zoom meeting to hear or see these young people and their wonderful talents. And the applause was a little bizarre.
I believe it was.
And Howie Mandel was, the usual Howie that he is. But I don't know. Did any of these kids really have a chance?
I don't know, but it was quite interesting. As you bring up another valid point, is I was flipping the stations and I saw WWE Raw, the wrestling channel. Well, of course, they've adapted the whole thing with the video screens. So just picture every seat had a little mini TV on it, and you see all these people behind it, and you see some people like watching, not watching, turning off their screens. And I'm like, oh my God, it's a Zoom meeting.
It's pretty much the truth. I mean, who's going to guarantee that they're going to sit there and actually watch the show?
Yeah, at least that's when I just say, is it even worth having, the stadium seats at this point? Just close it off, just have it on the TV and say, you have to watch TV now. Done. Yeah,
I'm afraid one of my favorite commercials is the Progressive commercial where they're having the Zoom meeting and the one girl is eating her lunch and texting. That's pretty much the employee caliber that we've been getting.
I love the one with Flo where she's like, can you hear me? Can you see me? And her face is like right and zoomed in, or then she freezes and buffers. I'm like, right. That's Zoom right there.
There you go. Which is another pet peeve of mine.
Well, you can't help that because it's the internet,
It is what it is. But I thought we were supposed to be on 5G by now.
From what I heard, rumor-wise, 5G is going to be brought down here in the Sarasota, Manatee County areas probably around the next year.
So another year from now.
No, like, probably another year, if not less, somewhere in there.
Do they feel like, we're the only ones on the planet that actually need to have our brains eaten alive by microwaves?
Well, here's the thing. Depending on what plan you have for your phone, you may or may not have 5G or whatnot if you have it on your phone. But the waves will probably still go around and eat your brains. But my phone is not 5G ready, even though it's the latest iPhone SE second edition phone type of scenario. When I went to Verizon to get my phone, they're like, oh, yeah, you have this plan. If you pay another $20, you can be on 5G. I'm like, no, I don't want it.
No, thanks.
Yeah.
I have a hard enough time using the phone I have now. I don't need anything else on it.
What's really funny, Katie, is like back in the day, we all had the flip phones. When I had the flip phones, and you remember like when you had 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you had ABC as 1 and all the other things, I used to memorize, and I didn't even have to look at my phone when I was texting and driving at the day. I would just be like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I knew.
You should have been a computer programmer because all they use is ones and zeros.
Well, zeros would have added nothing on there texting. But yeah, I was quite prominent just to sit there, and I was able to text complete sentences. Nowadays on the phone, I'm like, oh, forget it. I'm not even doing it.
I don't know. I still think I think there might be something to the 5G misnomer, but yet at the same time, don't we have more important things to worry about right now?
This is true, but I just had a thought about this as I was walking in the door today, is how much is enough when you have to say we don't need 5G, we probably were happy with 4G, 3G, 2G, whoever before that, but how much more can you get involved before you say enough is enough? I
did that about 5 years ago. Nobody heard me though, but I did scream and yell. I said enough is enough. I'm kind of like the guy on the movie. He sticks his head out the window and says, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, that would have been me.
I think that was after the episode or the commercial of J.G. Wentworth with I want my money.
yeah, I think so. It's kind of weird. I noticed you got a lot of stuff on here tonight about cars. You must have had a bad week driving.
What are you talking about, bad week? We're only halfway through it, Katie.
Okay, good point.
This is only Wednesday, people. We record on certain days, but today's a Wednesday. I can guarantee you that.
Well, now, see, I have to agree with you because I've been on the road when people were, for whatever reason, deciding that they needed to drive 20 miles over the speed limit, but they also needed to keep changing lanes. It was kind of like watching an ambulance in action, only it was a dually pickup truck.
That's what we call the salmon fish maneuver type of thing.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah,
swimming upstream.
Yeah, swimming upstream. That's what you're doing.
Which brings me to another point. You should be listening to Radio Air Network too, because Swimming Upstream is one of those shows.
But do they go between lanes?
I don't know. I don't record her show.
Well, then we'll have to listen to that.
You should. You never know what you're going to hear. Slow drivers in the passing lane. Okay, now 90% of the time you blame this on some blue hair sitting in the passenger lane, just driving and putzing along.
It actually happened to me today.
Are you serious?
I am not kidding.
Oh, Lord. And they did build roundabouts. What are we going to do? See, I told you can't get them driving a straight line. How you going to get them going a circle?
Well, the big pet peeve is there is a state law that trucks, 18-wheelers and all that stuff, have to be driving in the right lane at all times, unless they're going to make a left. And basically, within that left, they need to figure out what they need to do. But you still have trucks in all three lanes that congest everything.
Well, I always thought there was only 4 ways to get to a roundabout until I was out and about the other day, had to go down Tuttle. And my directions were, take the 5th exit off the roundabout. And I'm thinking, holy Moses, where am I going to end up now?
Did I end up in hell? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, but it is warm.
There's actually a town called Hell, and it does freeze over.
Let's hold